Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 8 of the 10th Divine Podcast. This show connects people and players of the community together. And I'm your host, Crown Esso. And today I am here with the Mr. and Mrs. third time on the show, NineTaleFoxes. And how are you guys?
We're doing great. How are you?
Not too shabby. If anybody wants to take a trip back in time, the Foxes were on for both episode 8 and episode 26 of season 1. And that episode 26 was when Necrom came out, just for point of reference. So it's been a while. Is there anything in game specifically you guys have gotten up to recently you want to toot your horn about? Or have you just been so busy with your other adventures that you haven't really had time?
I know we've been super busy, but obviously subclassing came out. But that's not even the most exciting thing that's been happening recently. For those who don't know, the most exciting thing, swimming mounts. I now can swim on all my mounts and do anything, and I don't get dismounted on it. I know it's like the smallest, most insignificant thing ever. I absolutely am having the most fun just swimming around on a mount just because I can.
Well, I haven't tried that yet because life, but we were just camping for like a week and a half, so I just finally got back to reality. But I can't imagine how much differently traveling through Murkmire is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Barden fell too. Like, oh my god, he's literally been jumping in every puddle in Tamriel just to try it out. Like,
yep,
it's like a kid with new rubber boots.
Yep, sound effects are amazing too. So he's just testing all the different mounts to see what they do in the water. It's been his whole focus.
Cool. Do they give like unique animations?
If there's a rock, the missus will find it.
The animations are they definitely had to be slightly unique for the different things, but I think what was coolest was probably the sound effects. So like the dwarven spider sounds like a little bit of a motorboat, which is kind of cool, like a little speedboat in the water. So I think that's been really fun. I know you were testing out the other day the stick mount.
Yeah.
Because that obviously had to have a special unique animation, and
how does a broomstick swim?
So the unique thing about the stick mount is it doesn't actually increase your mount speed or your movement speed or anything like that. It's never designed to do that. It's still your standard movement speed. So basically, you just throw it over your shoulder and swim with one arm like normal.
That's still impressive, though. It's such a small detail, but I love that. That's awesome.
Right.
I'm just blown away because I haven't had a chance to look at it. But is there anything? Because you guys, your guild and everything started on Xbox console. So have you guys been like digging into the add-ons on that side, or have you guys been like, well, we have it on the PC side of things, or like, how's it been going for you guys?
So we actually started on PC. We were day one ESO players on PC when, what's been 5 years or so now that we started the actual like guilds, and we really dove into the community aspect of it. A little while after that, we had actually started our Xbox and our PlayStation guilds, and our Xbox guild is definitely, our Xbox guild by far has been our most active console. We have not dove into any of the add-ons yet, but we have been helping a lot of our Xbox friends through it, and helping them kind of troubleshoot and stuff, which I am so happy. Like I said, we dabble every so often and pop onto Xbox, but like I was so excited to hear that for them. Like Minimap alone, like that is it. If they just gave them a Minimap add-on and ended there, I think that would have just like made me really excited. But I mean, the quality of life that Xbox and PlayStation had, that was phenomenal.
I haven't even touched add-ons. Like summer in our house always seems like it's not going to be busy, and then somehow we manage to fill it with so much stuff. I don't even have sports kids, so like the fact that we can be busy every weekend and not have sports in our lives, I don't understand how people do sports. Like
I feel that.
That seems scary.
I
have 4 kids, none of them are sports kids. I can't imagine.
I said this was his first. He's only 5, right? So he got a bad luck on the weather this year, Because again, if it wasn't a heat wave one week, it was torrential downpours, right back to a heat wave with high humidity. So we really got no time outside for anything. For better or for worse, because from like June through July, we were just absolutely loaded down with getting ready for like GCX and everything going on that side. So yeah, we had a little bit more indoor days,
launch.
but
yeah. it was a crazy couple of months. So
Nine, you mentioned the GCX event.
Mhm.
So how did you guys get involved with planning this unofficial ESO extension of the GCX event?
So I'll give you the abridged preface to this because I do have the gift of gab, and I can go for an entire 4-hour stream just talking about the build up. So we fundraise for St. Jude every May. They do their St. Jude Play Live campaign. We fundraise for that, and so 3 years ago, I want to say, was my first GCX summit. They do a summit where they basically invite content creators to kind of tour the campus and learn more about it, kind of hype us up, and like as really exciting, we realize what we're doing over at, to raise money for St. Jude.
That's awesome.
While I was there, I met a few of the folks from GCX, and we got to talking and things like that. Now, Fallout for Hope this past year were also there, and I know a lot of the Fallout community. I hang out in their streams and chill with them and all that. So fast forward to March, about March or so. I'm talking to so the GCX guys and what have you. Ken from Fallout for Hope messages me end of May, end of the Play Live campaign, basically 1st of June. He's like, "Hey, how would you like to do an Elder Scrolls experience at GCX?" I'm like, "Let's do it. That would be phenomenal." I know they wanted a presence there. GCX wanted an Elder Scrolls presence there, and we're like, "Yeah, let's do it. We can make something happen. It'll be great." They're like, "Cool, awesome. By the way, it would also be great if you created a kind of like a team, kind of similar to Fallout for Hope, but for Elder Scrolls." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, no, we got this, yeah, let's do this." And they're like, "Great, cool, awesome. You got 2 months, sort of." Okay. Also, how much money do you have? I don't know. I got a few bucks. That's your budget. I'm like, sweet. So again, and not for nothing, like I said, they're awesome. They've been phenomenal. They helped us like connect with people and helped us as much as they can. Obviously, again, they just can't be like, "Oh, by the way, here's like $20,000 to like get you started," and do everything. So we're like, okay, cool. So we basically got 2 months to plan a stream for the GCX marathon, which was phenomenal. The Elder Scrolls experience for the GCX convention, and start up a stream team charity group that is supposed to be on par, or in the workings to being on par with Fallout for Hope, which again has been around for a while. Ken has done an amazing job with that.
Yeah.
So we're like, I feel like so that again took up a huge amount of time trying to like get all the bits and bobs and pieces in order just for that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
For those of the people out there that don't know Nine, he loves to say yes to anything exciting, especially if it's charity. That is how you get him. You ask him to help with something charity, and there is absolutely no saying no. And he had mentioned to me that before we even talked, he'd already said yes to this. And I'm like,
that is true.
Okay, I said, so let me get this straight. Okay, in less than 2 months.
In my marriage, my wife also plays a lot of catch up with plans I made, plans I thought about, plans that I forgot about.
Yep. And usually it's he is great at networking and coming up with big ideas, and his creativity is the start of all the things we do. And then he's like, "Okay, make it work." And he looks at me. Like I said, my background, I work a regular 9 to 5. I did 10 years in project management and marketing and all that stuff. So like that's my background. So he's like, "Okay, cool. I have all these really awesome ideas. I said yes to it. We're gonna do this. How do we do this?" And so then that's kind of where I usually come in at like that tail end part. So It was definitely like a, looking at him like, blinking like, you said yes.
You said, do you
this
have
is what
any
we're doing?"
idea how much of a basket this is to carry?
Yeah, but it was an incredibly rewarding experience, worth all of those 2 a.m. tears I had for sure.
So you guys have never done something like this before, then?
Nope.
No.
They
And
said,
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, yeah. So when they originally said like Elder Scrolls experience, since we only had 2 months, they said a lot of people had like a year or so to plan this. We're like, okay, we have 2 months, no budget, and 2 other components that we have to work on. We're gonna get like a 10 by 10, 20 by 10. We're not gonna get something something that big. We're gonna get a small little thing and maybe put like a Whiterun guard and a few cutouts and like, hey, play ESO. Then they came back and by the way, here's a 30 by 40 space, fill it.
It was 8 booths for us.
Yep.
Eight
That's
event spaces.
phenomenal.
Right.
And like I said, it was crazy.
It was.
We had a calligraphy station. We had an Elder Scrolls like PC. We had a few PCs sponsored by Power GPU. They came in clutch. We had a photo booth with a giant, I think it was like an 8-foot or 10-foot Oblivion portal.
Yeah, the 8-foot Oblivion portal. Yeah.
That a local.
I saw that getting put
made.
together.
Yep.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. We had a tavern. We had a Dark Brotherhood quest. You could go out and assassinate someone for legal purposes. It was not a real assassination, I promise. They frown upon, killing people in the Universal Studios area, so we tried not to do that. But yeah, there were, like I said, quests people go on, lock picking, and we had a blast with it. It was wild. What we were able to get together in 2 months, and we would not have been able to do half of that if it wasn't for Ken from Fallout for Hope. He was an absolute angel to, he brought us this project, but he didn't just kind of dump it and leave. And he helped us,
That's
get
awesome.
connected with the voice actors and all kinds of stuff. So like I said, it was big. It was big. And we were super proud of it at the end. We were very nervous leading into it, but we were very, very proud of ourselves.
There were a lot of people who came up and actually said, it's like, oh, I wasn't even expecting there to be any Elder Scrolls anything here. And like, this is great. They were just, a lot of community members were just like so happy to see an Elder Scrolls presence.
Yeah.
And be able to like do some fun stuff. Again, with a lot of the FOMO around like Amsterdam and missing out on a few other events, like some of the North American events. This was for them something that they could do and be involved in. That they were like super happy. Yeah.
And that's kind of how we modeled
had a lot of fun. Yeah.
We kind of took a lot of the ideas that we were able to do within 2 months in setup. We pulled as many ideas as we could from the Amsterdam event. We were very fortunate to be able to go there. And so like the calligraphy station they had there, that's kind of what we did there. We did the same thing with the Daedric writing. And, so we really tried to model a little bit of that. So, not only, again, was it an Elder Scrolls experience overall, but it was also something to maybe help people that, again, they hadn't gotten the chance to, go to any of the 10th anniversary events that did happen, outside the U.S., that, maybe this was a little bit of something to give them, a taste of what some of those events were. And, so it was kind of, again, be the Elder Scrolls presence, but maybe also a little bit of an ulterior motive to, kind of bring a little bit of that 10th anniversary party as much as we could.
That's awesome. So, of the things that ended up happening while you were at GCX, like what was a highlight for each of you and a low light from the event?
I got one. Who wants to go first? Are you going first?
Yeah. So I'm going to give one example, but generalize the topic. So my favorite thing about conventions as a whole is especially seeing like kids get into it, and I lied. I'm going to tell two quick ones. One is there was this dad who was with his son, and the son was like, "Oh, you don't want to take a picture? I want to like again within our experience, along with other things, it was like, I want to do all these different things. Want to do the calligraphy, want to do the lock page, like want to do all these different things, like use the prop weapons and pose and take pictures." And the dad, not for nothing, I said, probably super nice guy. Probably doesn't look like much of a gamer. He probably looks like he plays like a lot more sports, works out, like maybe some Call of Duty. He doesn't look like he's like big into like staying at home for hours on end gaming.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
felt a little out of place when he was
yeah,
there,
you
kind of,
tell
but
that,
letting
but
his
he was,
son lead that.
oh, but he was so
like
supportive
my
and
friend.
hey, buddy, you want to do this? You want to do that? It's like he was all about like just spending time, letting his kid experience and do everything.
Yeah.
And there was this other little kid who was like a little shy coming up, and it's like, oh, hey, buddy, he's like, I don't really want it, like with the photo booth area, and so long story short, we kind of, between the mother and all that, we kind of coaxed him to like take some pictures with it. And he warmed up, and he's like, hey, buddy, which one do you think your dad would like? He's like, oh, that one. So dad was looking at something else. We're hoping dad came back over. He's like, oh, dad, we picked out this one, and the kid was like all about like taking the picture with his father, and like again, like the mom was like super happy. Like I said, it was just the kid was like comfortable to break out of his shell, and like I said,
That's
it was
awesome.
we had the photo booth, so like I said they got to use the swords. It's those moments where kids get to have fun, and there's so many things, there's so many reasons to like guard yourself from the world and your hobbies and your interests, that reminding kids, letting them come to an experience, come to a place where they can just kind of open up and freely enjoy what they enjoy is absolutely, absolutely rewarding. Overall, I would say there were definitely more feel good moments than again, if we want to talk about like a real like low light kind of experience, like in the most I can say is that we've discussed this with other people and things like that. Is there was one of the other booths, we weren't allowed to have loud sound systems, so we
Yeah.
didn't overtake any of the other booths. One of the other booths or areas, whatever, they basically cranked their volume up to like 11, and it overshadowed everything. Like it's a little
Mm.
immersion rate. Like we have a bard singing, we have some like background music. We kept everything to our area.
Yeah.
You even sitting next to the bard while she was saying, you could barely hear her over like their speech. So like, if anything, that'd be like our low light is like, at least for me, that's mine.
That's
Just
not
not
so
being able
bad.
to hear. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure if the missus had anything.
Yeah, no,
different.
like I said, I definitely, I loved, just seeing people come in and get to be themselves. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But I think, maybe more from a logistics standpoint, what really capped off the weekend, like I said, it was long and stressful. I am still at this point, but especially at the time, had some injuries from a car accident I was in March. And so I did 2 back-to-back conventions at the end of July into August, and so like some days I was a little miserable overall, which was a little tough on me. But you go through all of this, you plan for 2 months, you get everything together, you're stressing. Again, there absolutely were tears, and trying to make this the best event you can because you just want other people to be happy. And the one of the best, and I get goosebumps thinking about it, was at the end of the show. There were 2 other folks that had approached us that run their own conventions. Another one in the Florida area and another one in the Texas area, and they're like, this was like the most amazing thing ever. Like, we are like floored with what you guys did. We want you to come to our convention and talk about what you do and your messages with that ESO spin. Like this, I have to have this at my convention because this has a place where we are. And
Well, that
to
must
like
have felt good.
have that, yeah, it's like I have goosebumps. To have that validation, because like I said, you just hope, right? At the end, because I'm hoping that I'm like, oh my god, like I'm like, I hope we get invited back. Like, I don't even know if we're getting invited back next year. Like, I hope I didn't screw this up, and you just, again, me, I self doubt a lot. I'll be the first to admit it, and you're just stressed out. And you just want it to be good because at the end of the day, there's 2 parts to this. We're here to raise money for St. Jude, and again, it's a cause near and dear to our hearts, and something we've been very passionate about for many years, even prior to starting streaming and that. So you just want to do the best you can and raise the most money so that these kids get the opportunity to make it out of the tutorial of life, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's a huge part of it. And then your second part of it is the community aspect. And one of the things that since we started streaming, our world of streaming has revolved around the community. What can we do to make the community happy? What can we do for the community? We have had such an amazing experience with the Elder Scrolls and the titles, and it's made such a profound impact on our lives. How can I pass that along to someone else? How can I give them something that has meant so much to me and gave me a place like I feel at home and where I feel comfortable and I can feel myself, how can I do that for someone else? And so that was the other part of this was, you know, I want people to walk into this booth and be like, this was so cool. Like, I love this community. And I want them to walk away and maybe pick up an Elder Scrolls title again that maybe they haven't touched in a while. Maybe, you know, re-download that game. Maybe pick it up for the first time. We had this adorable little 4-year-old girl, fully with her parents' permission. It is an M-rated game, but her parents were both there. She did not want to get off the PCs. Gone crazy, had brought her controller for anybody that needed it for accessibility, and we had hooked it up for her, and she was playing as a Khajiit, and she was, honestly, she was feeling things better than I was. I was thoroughly impressed. And, you know, she's going through, and then parents are like, come on, we gotta move on or whatever. And
Yeah,
she
there's
was
other
so
things
upset.
to do.
She was so upset. She said they got back to the hotel that night, and she threw a fit. And she says, I want to play the tree lizard game because on the computer next to her was an Argonian. And she didn't get the opportunity to do the Argonian. So that little girl made her parents come back to play so that she could also play the Argonian. So again, to see that, you know, in somebody so young, to just, like I said, she has no idea what's going on, but she loved that game so much. So we actually gave her parents a game code, and I'm like, jump into ESO, even if it's just to let her run around and, you know, kill wolves in you know, Betnik. So be it. And
the first 2 years of my daughter playing, all she did was run away from everything that was trying to hurt her.
To be fair, I did that 10 years ago too. I'll fully admit that. I was a grown adult, so you know.
So,
yeah.
Funnily enough, actually, so this episode 7 was actually interviews with my kids, the 3 that play the game. So a little bit more of a steadfast, a little bit quicker interviews, but just 3 little mini interviews put together for the 3 that play the game. So I love that all this stuff about kids is getting brought up because it fits perfectly with the episode I just finished doing. So.
That's amazing, yeah, and so that's what I said. It's, you know, it's again that community aspect of, you know, helping people find their place in this world, because sometimes they're like, okay, I like video games, but I don't know if I fit in anywhere yet, and you know, to have some people walk away and be like, nope, I feel good here. You know, that was a huge thing. So to kind of know that in both capacities, you know, we just totally killed it. We really communicated that. We were successful at that. So much so that, again, that validation from, you know, 2 other, you know, big cons in the areas, you know, down south.
That's fantastic. Like,
we want you guys.
I'm so proud for you guys, because that would just be the most like humbling thing ever for doing an event thing and being like, hey, we want you here. That's great. Yeah. So from this expedited 2 months ish process, what are some lessons that you guys kind of picked up on along the way that will make future events much simpler?
Nine's not in charge of making decisions.
Earlier planning is probably going to solve like 80% of our issues. I have, you know, because we were working with, you know, Gina over at ZOS to kind of like talk about the event and to see if, you know, in the future there's any potential interest of, you know, the studio getting more involved. You know, regardless, we're on a mission to just keep doing this as long as we are capable of doing it. But like I said, we, you know, seeing what opportunities there are to maybe have a bigger involvement from, you know, the brand. And you know, I told her, you know, I kind of give like a little bit of a post-event summary, and I know the GCX folks, same thing for them. I don't think either of them are ready because I'm currently at 17 pages of notes and I'm not done. So nice. Like I said, nine and I, we just sat and debriefed, and we were like, okay, let's go through every last single thing that happened that went. I want to write down all of the bad stuff, all of the things that went wrong. I don't care what it was. If it went wrong, it went wrong. And then to talk about the things that worked, like, hey, this worked, and to kind of put together, you know, now a year out, put together a plan for what this could look like next year. So we're actually planning next year's event. We don't know what the space is. We don't know any of that stuff, but, starting to reach out to contacts. And so, for us, there was a million things we learned. I think time is a big part of it. And, getting the community involved a little sooner. Again, this is all going to be run through community donations, much like kind of Fallout for Hope and a lot of their experiences were. It's a community, based event that the community supports. So again, having the time to do that, I think, is going to completely change, what we do and how we do things next year, right? There were a lot of kind of, we're going to figure out how to hang this banner up with, 2 paper clips and a roll of duct tape, because that's all we got right now. It's kind of properly planned. So, I mean, so there probably wasn't anything specific, to mention, but like I said, I have literally 17 pages of notes that's how fantastic. We can do things better logistically. And I think one of our big focuses, I mean, the event was amazing. Where we felt that we fell pretty short on was the charity marathon aspect. Again, that was very, very last minute, even more so than the event. So, we really didn't, in my opinion, do anywhere near what we could have the capability to do. And I think that's going to be our main focus going into next year is, okay, we got the event stuff locked down, because we walked into this event. We have never been to GCX before. We have personally, for this in this capacity, never done any sort of event like this. I've done trade shows for work, and that is very different than doing an event here. I'm not really designing quests to to do what I do at work. So there was so much that went into it, but we walked in blind, absolutely blind.
Which, to her point, is probably in my opinion, would be the single biggest takeaway of the overarching theme of this whole thing. Like I said, we have never done the marathon. Now that we know how it runs, next year we'll have a better idea of how, if they want to do marathon, actually, like I said, we'll have a better idea of like, okay, cool, here's the timeline we need, here's where we need set up. The event, we had no idea what the space looked like, what assets we had, until we got there. And by that point, we are basically like, nails are almost fully, in the board. Like, there's really no switching anything. So I think, again, now having gone there and seen everything, because again, their goal is to use the sound studios moving forward. We know what the space looks like. We know where we're working, and we have a better idea of what assets. I think, again, having that knowledge outside our first year is going to be, monumental to
for the last 20 years, I've been an industrial scaffolder. And a lot of scaffolding that we do industrially is cut and paste, because there's not one of these things that needs to be built for. There's 4 of them, or there's 6 of them. And it's amazing how different number 4 or number 6 is compared to number 1, as you catch along the way. Well, this would work better if I had this, and this, or these little things. And it's definitely, I like how enthusiastic you guys are about, we know exactly where we need to improve. This is here, and here, and we're going to work on that. And I love that. I love the energy of it. And hopefully next year I'll be able to come down to GCX, and it'll be something I can actually participate in. This year has been a weird year for our household. So it's been like the thing I mentioned with my finger earlier, pre-show, that's like the bottom of the totem pole for weirdness in our life this year. So like, next year maybe that'll be something, because I am also a charity person. For anybody who doesn't know, I run the Elder Heroes Extra Life teams, social media and Discord and all that fun stuff. And alongside Lotus of Doom, we're on like 5 years of this now for us, and it's been a fun time, and it's always fun to see how it grows and changes and shifts from year to year. Even though the core group of us that have been doing this for 5 years hasn't changed, it's been a completely different experience every year, and that's one of the more fun things about doing charitable stuff.
Yeah, as I said, we've been doing stuff with St. Jude for, I think we started, that was like our first thing we did when we started streaming. We're like, oh my God, we want to do St. Jude stuff. So we've been doing that for 5 years too. And it's, your journey with it evolves, right? You start out in one place with it, and you're just raising your first $100 and it's really cool. And then before you know it, you're doing 30 by 40 event
Getting
spaces.
tattoos.
Getting tattoos.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's amazing to see what, journeys people take in, their charity aspects. And, it's always been a core foundation of who we've been as people our whole lives. And to have the opportunity to, get to be more influential and get more people on board to make a bigger impact has just been unbelievable. And we have been very, very fortunate to be able to drive some of that.
Sweet. So are there any particular groups or people you guys want to throw some shout outs for, some thank yous for from participating in the GCX event and the stuff that went on there?
Yeah. So of course, none of this would have went anywhere without Ken from Fallout for Hope. Absolutely incredible individual. He actually just announced that he came on board in official capacity to the GCX team. And
Nice.
I'm so excited for that.
Mhm.
So like I said, definitely shout out to Ken for being the backbone for us. And of course, Gone Crazy Back Soon, who was our right-hand woman down there on the ground in the area when I was panic sending her Amazon boxes the day before the event because I was still
That's
ordering things. And the Elder Scrolls community, the Lore Seekers community, the Fox Den community that volunteered very last minute to come and run these event spaces with us. Just all the incredible people that, like I said, just came and experienced and signed up for the calligraphy workshops and checked out our leather worker and, played a little ESO, because at the end of the day, you're nothing without the community, right? If no one shows up to your experience and experiences it, you can't make an impact. So, a huge shout out to the community that was super excited and involved and had a little fun, assassinating people of the Dark Brotherhood.
I would love to give a huge shout out to our tech guy who got our internet up and running.
He was a hero.
Very important for an online game.
If I may indulge an anecdote. So we got these computers, right? And fresh out the box, which, by the way, I'm no longer allowed to pack computers back into boxes. So says Gina and Hells. But I may or may not have broken a few of the styrofoam frames. Anyway, but everyone in the GCX gets 15 megabytes, right? So we had to download ESO 4 times on 4 computers simultaneously.
From
15
scratch.
megabytes. You know how big it is. Our tech friend, because we didn't get them the day before. We got them like day of.
We got them
Hey,
at
you guys
3
gonna be ready?
p.m. the night before, and we were only allowed to be in there till 6. So we had 3 hours, but
Just to
we
set them
didn't
up.
get any peripherals until the morning of the first day.
Yep.
So
So we
1
couldn't
hour before
Open.
that people were coming in for the first time,
That's
we got enough
fantastic. I love it.
to actually be able to go on the computer.
and our tech friend spent almost 4 hours, if not more, like rerouting bandwidths just so from the 4 computers individually, so that they could get like a gig each, and so that they could actually download the game faster. And like I said, absolutely. So before noon on day 1, we finally had all 4 computers up and running, because we were streaming off one of them. So it was
Big shout out to
absolutely
him.
amazing.
Wow.
Lifesaver on that end.
That is fantastic. Yeah. Well, on behalf of the community, thank you guys for putting together this unofficial event, because that's fantastic. Amongst all of this, the Guild of Giving as part of this charitable branch and this aspect. So you kind of mentioned it was in the Fallout for Hope guys were like, hey, can you do a Elder Scrolls version of us? So it was kind of their idea. So how did this become a thing? Who's all involved? What's the plans for that little project?
So, again, to tell stories because I can.
Love it.
So, GCX was our side gig, if you will, right? So GCX is the Elder Scrolls experience hosted by SideQuest. That's SideQuest is our event side, right? And then we have the Adventurers Guild of Giving. And it consists of myself and the missus. We've got Zero Period Productions. We've got Gun Crazy Back Soon, Loads of Doom, and just headline Hell's Gaming. And that's it. They're kind of like the people who've come in to kind of like help us start getting the ball rolling as our officers, because we want it to be more than just St. Jude. Like we can head St. Jude just fine. We know the ins and outs. We've been doing it for years. You've got Lotus and Gun Crazy, who are Extra Life, and Zero Period Productions George, who does Voice of Palooza, so for the Alzheimer's Foundation. And so when we did this, we're like, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it. This is the missus. The missus is telling me this. She's like, we're going to do it right. And we're going to format it correctly. We're going to have everything out the gate. And we'll leave room for additions as we go. But we want 90% of what needs to be there. And not just like, oh, we forgot this. Let's put that in. Let's soup to sandwich, put everything in there right now. And so she worked tirelessly on getting that Discord up and running. And what we want to do with this is down the road, hopefully turn it into a 501, like an official charity organization. Because our goal is, and this is the fun story part, is so the missus and I used to LARP. We used to live action role play, high fantasy, all that fun stuff. And when it was locally and all that fun stuff, when we got there, they had cabins for you to stay in. And there was nowhere, like, there were all these people who've been there for a while, and they've got friends, and they're all cabining together, and there's nowhere for us to go. So the DMs are like, we got this, like, hodgepodge cabinet, just like people who also don't have anywhere to go, so they just threw us in there. And me being unmedicated at the time, mostly, I have ADHD, and everything just goes all whatever it wants to do. I'm like, well, this is stupid. You're all my friends now. And so I'm like, what? Perfect. They don't want to hang out with you. We're all going to hang out. We're now friends. This is our house. They can come to us if they want. This is our clique. And this clique will be for everybody who wants to be here, because I don't care. You want to be here, you get to be here. And that was our point, is that anyone who wanted, all these people who were considered misfits, who didn't fit into these genres of these cliques of these other groups for one reason or another, is you have a home right here. We don't care. Oh, well, we were with them, but what can we stay with you guys? Yes, why not? There's no reason not to, right? We're just here to have fun and have a good time. And translate that to this guild where there's so much negativity, there's so much gatekeeping and bullying, and you're too old, you're too young, you're too inexperienced, you're not strong enough, low DPS, not the right gear. There's so many reasons why you can't participate with people. And while we live by the motto, play the way you want to play, just know your limits, that doesn't mean you can't hang, right? That doesn't mean you can't be here and be included and feel like you're part of something, because you are. Is this new mantra of my life that I've kind of been promoting to people, is you're enough as you are. You are enough. Just come and hang out. And this is a place where if you don't feel like you have anywhere else to go, boom, now you do. The Guild of Giving is for you. And anytime we do charity, it's never about raising money. And it's not like, oh, hey, your dues are up, you need to donate $5, you need to donate $100. Oh, you didn't donate enough. It never has to do with that. There are a million and one ways, and Mrs. did a wonderful job of like laying out for people, like, hey, we get it. Not everyone has $5 in their pocket. Here's like 1,001 different things you can do to help us help and do charity work. And you're now included. Tell your friends who have $1. Volunteer at an event if it's nearby. All these different things. The moral is that you don't have to like St. Jude. It's like, oh, I like St. Jude, but it's not my, not my favorite. Okay, well, what about this one, this one, this one, this one?
Yeah.
We have so many different options out there that everyone can feel included in doing something and feel better. That not only are they at a place where they can just be themselves, but they can also do good to bring more people into that space where they feel happy and they feel welcome.
People underestimate their own ability to reach out and touch somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the point of the show, guys, where I get to talk to you about the fact that we are part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club. You can find our show and lots of other great shows spanning all sorts of interests and fantasies and thought processes by checking out the directory over there at robotsradio.net, or hang out in their Discord where the 10th Divine has his own channel. We can also check out a host of other MMO focused podcasts over with our friends at bonusroll.gg. they also have a Discord, and we also have a channel over there. As for the schedule of the show, I've kind of made the executive decision that because I seem to do this thing where I managed to get 3 interviews in the same weekend and then nothing when scheduling with people, that rather than holding on to these episodes and some of the questions and conversation kind of falling out of touch with what's going on with our ever evolving game, like with episodes 5, 6, and 4, where I talked about the future of update 46 after update 46 had already come out. Make sure that I sit down and edit them right away instead of being like, oh, it's been 2 weeks. I should do this so I can get it out in 6 hours, which is something I've been doing recently. So I appreciate you guys coming and checking out the show each week, and that you do come, that it is out there, and that hopefully this more unorthodox schedule will work better for both the listeners and for myself. Highlight and high note of Extra Life. I kind of touched on it already a bit in the episode, but there is this challenge for captains to get 7 new team members, help them each raise $10 before September 20th of 2025. So if it's something that interests you guys, please come join the team. Links are in the show notes. Currently we have 16 members because after this challenge launched 2 days ago, my wife said, fine, you can register me. And so this will be her second year on the team. We currently are sitting at $500 raised for the year. And again, we have our goal of hitting $50,000 for our 5th year as a lifetime total. And that's pretty fantastic. Check out all the links in the show notes for today, and you guys can find out more information about myself or our lovely guests from there. The little mantra at my church at the end of every Sunday is bring a friend for see you next week and bring a friend. My wife and I actually, well, mostly her, I just kind of coattail on it because we came to the same realization like a week apart from each other, and then talked to each other about it and was like, oh, that's perfect. But it's even reaching out to people that were already in the church, because, and you can do this even within people within your already existing community or people with already in your current Discord. You already know these people, but sometimes even in an inclusive space or a space where people are supposed to feel welcomed, people will kind of float away and see it. Some people do it on purpose just to see if they're noticed for floating away. So sometimes it's as simple as being like, hey, you know what? I haven't seen this guy in so long. I'm going to touch base with them and be like, hey, what's going on? Or even just somebody who's being quiet in the corner. And the same thing can go for your Discord communities, your whatever video games you're playing, and just reaching out to random people that you haven't played a game with for a while, but you see they're online and be like, hey, what are you up to these days? It can make a huge impression and change the trajectory of that person's life, or even how you approach the next person. And you can eventually grow upon that to, get them involved with things, or ask them, or just spreading the word even of, hey, I'm doing this charity thing, or hey, these people are doing this charity thing, can make a huge difference in what ends up happening for people.
Yeah, as I said, to Nine's point, our the Adventures Guild of Giving is like I said, it's kind of marrying two very different pieces in the perfect way almost. There's the gaming community is massive, and so the goal is to kind of unite this massive gaming community. Shared experiences in video games, tabletop RPGs, we do a lot of that. Fandoms, they're such powerful tools for creating these strong bonds and giving people a sense of belonging. And so our mission is to kind of leverage that and use that, and again, starting with the Elder Scrolls community, not just the ESO community, the Elder Scrolls community, and being a haven where gamers can connect and support one another, and find solace in helping combat feelings of isolation, improving mental health, right? That's a big challenge these days for a lot of people. Again, not feeling like they're being seen, not feeling like they have that place. And so we want to bring these fandoms to conventions and events, ideally, across the United States, across the world one day, maybe, and create these positive, inclusive environments where people feel valued, they feel understood, and they feel part of a larger family. And we can do that online a little easier, but I want people to be able to go to a convention and feel like, okay, this is, a big step for me. I want to get out there. I want to do something, but I know I can go, and my home, my Elder Scrolls is there. I know that community's got me.
Yeah.
And it hopefully helps them kind of branch out. So that's kind of the core aspect of, what we talked about with side quests and, having these side quests across, across the globe of, hey, we have this little side quest mission to go to GCX, and we're going to get together. We're going to be awesome. And then we're going to do something good. And so, leveraging that collective passion, for the Elder Scrolls and channel that into something else, something we can all be together besides just the fandom. We can be the Elder Scrolls guys that also kick butt and raise money for charity. So we want to kind of rally,
100%.
the members of that and, channel that enthusiasm and generosity into raising funds for these causes. And like I said, we, kind of have those 3 pillars that we mentioned, those 3 major causes. Definitely not shutting the box on anybody else, but those are the 3 we really want to stand on, that the group that's coming together to start this, those are the major cores of us, so we've kind of founding that around these 3, but, show the world that the gaming community is not just people playing games, and it's people making a difference. And, we're adventurers, and the greatest quest you have is to give back, in our opinion. So that's kind of what we are in a nutshell, is, again, bringing that community together in a new way, in a new space, open up that world again, get people out there IRL, let people play Elder Scrolls in real life, and let's do some good while doing it. So that's kind of where we're at. And that's
fantastic. And I love the grandeur of the long-term goals. I love that. You need something to reach for, right? Yeah. If you're not reaching for anything, then you're not going to get anywhere, right? Yeah. And so I really do appreciate that. On the notion of giving things back, I think it was last year's Extra Life shirts. The slogan has something to do with giving back, and they moved our main picture off the front of the shirts to the back of the shirts. And it's like this, like, they didn't really tell anybody about it, but that was like this undertone pun to the change of the shirts, and give back, and your advertisement's on your back now instead of being on the front of the shirts like it has been in previous years. Now we just get the little logo. Looks pretty corporate, kind of. But I do like this year's color. This is this year's shirt.
I love the colors.
Yeah. So I really do think that's awesome, and I'm glad to hear that Gone Crazy has gotten involved in something else, because I love hearing every so often her little tangents of, before I got into podcasting, I didn't have time for anything. Now I have 2 podcasts and I'm doing all this charity stuff. What happened?
Yep. There's always room for something else. You always find a way.
Right. That's quite fun. So how do people get involved with the Guild of Giving and your future endeavors that you guys want to be doing?
So we have the Discord. They can join our Discord. This has the link in our announcements. You can join from our Fox Den Discord, and that will bring you right to the event.
Out there right now. The socials are out there right now.
Socials.
We're again in the very infancy of kind of setting up. That's the next mission. Once we kind of close the door on this year's event. The goal is to stand up a website and seeing if we can't find someone in the community to give us a little hand with that, and kind of be a little bit more of an official online presence for people. But yeah, for now, like I said, we have the Discord, and we have I believe we have Twitter, we have Blue Sky, we have Instagram. Those are kind of the 3 big ones we're on. Hopefully we can find somebody to join the team. It helps a little bit with social media, but socials are probably going to be the best place for people that want to see what's going on.
I can attest, social medias for charity groups are not an easy task.
It is not. It is a full-time job. Like I said, I'm a marketing manager, and social media falls under my responsibilities, and working with the teams that do it. And it is a full-time job. I don't think people realize that. So cheers to all the social media managers out there, because it is not an easy job.
No, and but it is fun.
We have a number of people who, like, we have Katie, we have Lotus, we have George. Again, they all spearhead kind of their own thing, but whoever's helping, it doesn't matter, because we don't have a single charity to focus on. Anyone can come in. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm gonna do this just because it eventually helps this one I do like. Great. That's again bringing people together to get. You could do anything. You could be anyone and give back in your own way. It doesn't mean you have to like focus on whatever we happen to be focusing on, right? Which again,
it gives people a point of reference for networking and connecting with other people that are doing the same kind of work.
Yep, absolutely. And it's about, also supporting other people in the space and not like trying to take over or to like absorb them and things like that. And, like our goal is like Elder Heroes is the ESO or the Elder Scrolls Extra Life team, right? And so, our goal, like talking with Katie a little bit more about that is, how can we support your team, right? Like how can we as a fellow, charity, do-gooders of the Elder Scrolls community, like what can we do to support Extra Life? What can we just do to support Elder Heroes? Can we, be a sounding board of, hey, I'm going to share these posts. I'm going to promote your link. We actually have the Elder Heroes link in our Discord right now. Like, and, it's this huge part is just working together and how can we help other people. It's I think the biggest challenge that people come through is they're like, oh, I want to be the authority in this space, I'm the big guy, and I want to, everybody should come to me and go through me. And it's just like, no, like how can we help each other? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? Is, hey, maybe I have some really good influence in this space and you have good influence in that space. How can we take that and how can I help you and how can we do better? Because at the end of the day, it's about supporting those charities. It's about supporting the community and, how do we support each other in that? So
I can,
funnily enough, I do have a way for everyone to help. I was going to mention the mid-break, but this is a great segue. Right now, I mentioned in episode 7 too, but that's weird because I'm still recording episode 7. Currently there's a challenge on for Extra Life team captains and co-captains to get 7 new team members before the 20th of September. And each of those people raise $10. Extra Life will donate to each of those people $7. And their team captain will earn $100 for their hospital that they're raising funds for. And that is something that is actually happening on right now. So if anybody is interested in helping out the Elder Heroes and our Extra Life stuff, that would be fantastic. We need some more bolstering of our numbers. And this helps with one of our goals that we set out at the start of the year and makes it easier for us to hit our total goal for the year. If we raise about the same amount of money we raised last year, we will actually hit $50,000 in the 5 years we've been a team.
That's amazing. I love that.
So
well, congratulations.
That is a thing that's going on right now, and there's a way that any one of you listening right now could be helping.
Yeah. Well, like I said, let us know how we can support that and how we can. Where I said we're small, but I feel like we are mighty. And we can help.
I'll tell you a funny story real quick. So this is kind of me backtracking before my brain forgets, because it will forget, I promise. Is to kind of like what the missus was talking about is, so we set up this whole, originally we were calling it the Tamriel Guild of Giving, but then we kind of, like I said, you morphed it into Adventurers Guild of Giving for other reasons. And so we're sitting there and we're telling people like, hey, do this for GCX, this, it's, the side quest put on by, the Guild of Giving, yada, 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 all this fun stuff. And because we never really came out in an official capacity to be like, hey, we're starting this thing. We never told anyone we were doing this thing, because it's not, we were just always dancing around kind of like who owned it, who was in charge of it. Like we just said, hey, this is who's putting it on. We were just like promoting it as a whole. And again, not to, if you will, stroke my own hubris at all that, but our thing is we don't really care. We're not looking for guts and glory. We're not looking for fame and fortune out of this. We're just looking to do what we want to do, which is kind of why we kind of like don't really brag about running it or doing it, because it's not about us, right? Because we also, like you said, we have Katie, Lotus, George. We have all these other people, amazing Hells. We have all these other amazing people who help and work with us. It's not about us. We just happen to have, hit the start button, but it's not anything to do with us.
When messaging Katie, I was like, hey, do you want to talk about this GCX thing and this Guild of Giving on the 10th, or do you want to tell me who else is involved? Maybe there's somebody else that would be better suited for it. She's like, they're not really telling people that they're the ones that started it, so I'll ask first. And I'm like,
Yeah, we didn't want it to
okay.
overshadow. Yeah, we didn't want it to overshadow like GCX and like all that. And
Mhm.
again, we didn't want to make it about us and what we were doing and what we were into it. We wanted it to be about the event. So we just hit the ground running of like, here's this thing going on. And we wanted people to be excited about it because it was cool and not because like, it's just, the Foxes are doing something, right? We wanted it to feel bigger than just us because it was.
You did a great job.
We appreciate that because like I said, we kind of took the back seat to like, hey, and so in our streams we were just like, oh, there's this event, we're gonna be there, we're gonna be helping with an event and all of this stuff. So like I said, we will probably come out in a little bit more of an official capacity. Like it's not like a super well kept secret by any means, but we just didn't want any of that to overshadow what the event was and what the event was for. So like I said, now that that has come, gone, settled, and we have some time before we kind of strike up the band for the next thing. We'll probably kind of come out in a little bit more official capacity and like tell people again who we are and what we do. We've only really talked about it within our stream community so far, but
and you
yes, and now here. So we're even looking as far as could this extend beyond Elder Scrolls, because beyond Elder Scrolls for us is tabletop, a lot of D&D, right? And
Nine high fantasy.
Nine runs a couple of games for the community, D&D games for the Fox End community, and again, it's been a big part of his history and his passions, and it's something we really enjoyed. So is this something that could extend beyond Elder Scrolls in the future? So we kind of felt the Adventurers Guild of Giving fit that, and felt like it could be room to grow and maybe have under the Adventurers Guild of Giving, having other communities, having a tabletop community, having an Elder Scrolls community. I mean, again, we liked Adventurer because again, it was generic in that sense, but it felt like it stayed true to the core of what started this all, which is the Elder Scrolls, right? I mean, we all know we all used to be an adventurer once, right? And so we felt like that was still ingrained. Yeah, it was still ingrained in the world of the Elder Scrolls, that it felt right to kind of make that adjustment within the first like month of doing this. So that's kind of where we're at, and we're gonna run with that. We're gonna run with that and see where we go.
Fun fact, for those who don't know, the arrow to the knee is a euphemism for similar to ball and chain. It's, for proposing. No, it is because you take a knee when you propose. So you take an arrow to the knee, you're proposing, and like I said, it's basically no longer adventuring because you told me that I wasn't allowed to deploy anymore.
Good save.
I appreciate the stretch in that logic. I really do.
No, it really is. You can look it up. Yeah, what is arrow?
I'll take your word for it. I believe you. I like this. Like how you tied it into your personal experience and everything to really solidify it. That's
I'm
awesome.
good at that. I do the same thing with dad jokes. I just like work them into my conversation. It's great.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right. I think this is fantastic, guys. So I think we should move on to the for funsies questions, which, as I mentioned in the pre-show, are a little bit different. I'm not AD, so I don't ask that question anymore.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure I kind of know the answer to this similar question to start us off, though. Which faction is the bottom of the three for you guys?
80. I can justify it. I've got a whole tangent to justify it, like, if that helps.
No, we are not going into his tangent. We will be here all night.
Oh, that's so good, though.
I'm pretty sure you brought it up when the question was, why is AD the best faction?
Right.
I believe your answer was, it's not. Very sternly, actually.
Yes. He's very passionate about this one in Queen Iran. We just don't go there anymore.
So, which quest line or story has been your least favorite for you guys?
Okay, unpopular opinion, cats. The litter box that is elsewhere. Oh, I couldn't do it. I had a rough time with that one.
The litter box that is elsewhere.
It's
Wow.
a giant litter box. There's a lot of sand and a lot of cats. Let's be honest now.
That is fantastic. I can't wait for never to hear that.
Right?
No.
Now you're gonna think about that every time you're in Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Is this a rock or what am I digging up? Treasures?
Ooh.
Right?
Well, someone's treasure for sure. How about
Right.
yourself, Nine?
That's a great question. You asked that, and obviously my brain is spinning through 100 different things. Least favorite? I'm not a fan of Rothgar. I think Rothgar has, but I like I like the quest line of Rothgar. I think it fits them very nicely. So I can't
You
even
just don't
say
like
that.
the area.
I hate Rothgar as an area.
That would be a zone you would earn the falling fear thing for sure.
Fear of
Mhm.
cold. Fear
Yeah.
of cold. I'll say this. So have you played Solstice yet?
No.
Okay. So part of the quest line in Solstice bothers me, and so I'll use this one. It's more the prologue. I think it's technically the prologue, and
Okay.
it bothers me on a more personal level because you have Princess Za, who watched, if you will, his spoiler for anyone who's out there, just let you know right now, who in the prologue watched his mentor get struck down. And Princess Za, for the rest of the prologue, is just woe is me, life is terrible, woe is me, I can't go on. And it's just like, bro. And the reason he basically just like stops existing, right? He basically just stops doing anything that he needs to do. And what bothers me about that is, for those who don't know, I did 14 years in the service, right? I did 2 tours overseas. I've lost friends overseas while I was there. And as a medic, I can't stop my job just because I'm sad. I'm not invalidating, I'm not dismissing that feeling whatsoever. But it's a personal thing. It was a personal one for me because, again, I've gone through something similar, and like it bothered me. It's like, you have to go on. There's like people that I was telling her while we were watching. It's like there's people, you're in charge of people. You need to direct them. You need to stop this. Like, this just you don't get to just stop when there's stuff to do. And that personally just was like,
Irks you.
like
He was,
got
he
me.
was
I'm
ranting
like,
about that
You
one
wish
for a while.
you could write your own dialogue options to give them a little slap across the face and like, wait.
well, that was one of the dialogue options. It was.
Oh,
You
really?
tell them to basically suck it up. There's things to do.
Well,
And obviously I
they
chose
have
that
the
one.
options now,
Yes,
where
yes,
you
yes.
can
The new
have
ones,
more freedom, over that. So,
Yeah.
like I said, they definitely had some good ones, and that's what I said. That
cool.
was one of the options.
I was supposed to do that between episodes 6 and 5, but I didn't. So I should
We won't
try to
spoil
actually
anything else
play
now.
games.
Right.
Sounds great though.
It was, like I said, it was great.
And like I said, don't get me wrong. I am in no way, shape, or form dismissing those feelings for people. I'm not saying you're not allowed to. I'm not saying you can't.
Yeah.
Like
But there's
right?
a time and a place to feel your
Yes.
feelings, and that's
Yes.
not the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Not when the world of Nern is ending, and
Yeah.
is, a worm cult.
Yeah.
coming back.
Not setting himself up as a great leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's like, I'm gonna pick her over there. You get to lead now.
So, if you could bring an ideology or belief system from the in-game universe to Earth, what one would that be?
So I love the Argonians, and they're just like super chill nature. They've been around since like the Lil Moth, and everything like that. And I forget the avian race that basically became harpies, but the Argonians have just been around, and no matter what happens, like just like their mentality on everything is just like, okay, bro, just go. Oh, we're gonna kill. Just go, because at the drop of a hat, as soon as you slight the Argonians, whether it be one or the entire tribe, that's it. You're done. You're done. And I love that about them, and just like how they're just like sleeper cells. And like I said, just
Yeah.
how
He's not
they
answering your
can...
question at all, but
No,
that's his
that's
tangent
an
on that.
ideology.
No,
That's an
no,
ideology.
just the ideology and the belief of Argonians with their general, we ourselves and we the people are something that holds a value, but we don't need to value or validate the passing of time or the things that happen because of it. Yeah,
They just chill.
yeah, yeah. How about yourself, Mrs.?
I guess what I find kind of cool is, and it's more a philosophical thing, right?
Perfect.
Is this metaphysics of reality, right? Like the amaranth. I think it's like the whole idea that the world of Nirn is a dream of like a cosmic entity. You have your gods, the Aedra and the Daedra, and that they're aspects of this dream. Like I went down this rabbit hole of
Written in uncertainty is one heck of a rabbit hole and digs into a lot of that. Yep.
So it's like those like thoughts driving home. I got 30 minutes to drive home. Like now what's going through my head there. But so the concept of being reality, the concept of reality being like a dream, like it is some in some actual real life ideologies, like it's a thing. But the idea of like a mortal being be able to consciously realize this and then use that knowledge to become a god, like I thought that was kind of cool. And like I said, I don't know if maybe I want that here, if people can literally elevate themselves and kind of realize themselves into a godhood. I feel like that could be dangerous, but I don't know. I think that's kind of cool.
Depends
That
on
was
who's
like
doing
really
it.
out there though.
Yeah. The idea, or like having the confirmation of the idea that you can elevate yourself to a different plane of existence consciously and with that effort. There's a Stargate series touches on that a lot in later seasons. And so I agree that would be really cool to just have this confirmation that, yeah, if you really want to work for it, you could be the new thing.
Yep.
But you're really going to have to work for it. How about the other way around? Is there something for ideologies or beliefs that you would pull from our world and take into Nirn? Now, plumbing has been mentioned numerous times in the show so far, just so we're on the same page.
That's fair.
Yeah. Plumbing and pizza are the two that stand out to me.
I feel like pizza's an easy one to do anyway, though. Like, I feel like that's like someone should have come up with that by now.
Right? But I haven't seen a pizza, so like...
Yeah. I mean, I've also never seen an outhouse, though, so... That's fair. You'd feel like someone would have created one of those by now.
Yeah, like what are they doing?
Cars. Transport. Aerial transport. Like, again, while way shrines are great, I don't trust giving power to the aliens if I don't have to.
Elevators.
Elevators, yes.
Oh.
I know we have like some
dwarven ones, yeah.
Yeah, but like a proper elevator, because we have we have a Plinko board.
Yeah, we do.
In one of our homes. It's a giant Plinko board, and it is like 20 staircases high, and going up that is intense sometimes. Like
That's fantastic.
There's a lot of stairs, right? Like going up like the Vex Temple, like let me just hit the elevator. Like I don't have time to climb all those stairs in this armor. I'm a tank. This isn't a thing. Like
just where
I want some more proper elevator systems, like to be widespread.
I want to change my answer. Guardrails. Nothing has a guardrail. You know how many times I go to the edge of something and be like, "Oh, what's so good?" I just fall off the map. I'm
so
like,
what we're saying is
OSHA.
We like
OSHA. That's OSHA. Yes, OSHA regulations.
Yeah. So it'd be like Tashosha, because it'd be like Tamriel's organized health.
Tosha.
Yeah.
Health and safety at Tashosha.
Yeah, we need a health and safety in Elder Scrolls because we don't have that.
You would think with how many times the Empire has risen and brought everybody under one banner, they'd at least put up some walls or some guardrails along the walls. Yeah.
Yep, I fall off keeps a lot. It's not safe.
So for each of you, what is your guys' go-to race?
Bretons. I'm a boring human. I really like my boring human races. Nords, Bretons, Imperials, but I have a lot of Bretons.
Nice.
I've been making a lot of Bretons for no particular reason. Wink, wink, no judge. But no. I usually go with Argonians.
I'm also an Argonian main. Always have been for every episode series. Um, on the one episode there, on the 6th episode, I had the Bunny Nader. He is also primarily a Breton player.
Mhm.
And I was like, talking to him, I'm like, I don't think I've ever actually played a Breton in any of the games. I
Solid.
tend to steer away from the Manish races. What is your guys' favorite type of vacation?
Vacation?
Yeah.
Like in-game?
It can be.
Okay.
I think we're talking
I'll
more
let her
IRL
start.
here.
Yeah. IRL or in game. I'm curious to see how do you take vacation in game. So I could take both.
Yeah, that's what
answers.
I'm kind of wondering.
Well, I mean, okay, so all right, so how about this? All right, so in I got you. This will be great. In-game vacations are very simple. In-game vacation for me is mat farming. Basically,
Okay.
I'm going to like starter zones. I can one-shot things, for all intent and purposes, and I'm just like running around farming mats. And I'm going to say this in such a way, but I don't mean it like this per se. It's very like mindless and cathartic in its own way. You're just like, click, 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 and you're just going around. You have some music on. You're just farming mats. You're not going after like dungeon bosses. You're not doing anything sweaty or anything like important where you have to focus. You just get to sit there and vibe and chill. Like to me, that's like kind of a vacation. That's how I view vacations in real life. Because again, for me, a vacation is sitting poolside or on the beach with a Mai Tai in my hand. As you can see, she's very
I
different.
see the head shaking.
I have spent my entire life vacationing at Disney World. My idea of a vacation
doesn't sound like a vacation at all. That sounds
No,
like
it's
horror.
not. It's
my
not a
vacation usually needs a vacation. Like that's usually where it is. Like I want to be up at 6 a.m. rope dropping, and then I want to be like shutting that park down at 10 o'clock at night, and then I'm gonna get up and do it again, and we're gonna do that for like 8 days straight. Like that's my vacation. I feel like I need to do stuff, right? I'm gonna spend money. I'm gonna go somewhere. If I want to relax, I can go sit on my couch downstairs for free. Like, if I'm going to go vacation, I'm going to experience stuff. I want to do things. I want to feel like I am going with a purpose. I have no problem having a Mai Tai while there, but I need to do stuff. I'm a Disney World girl.
What is your least favorite location in game, but any game whatsoever?
Oh.
Speaking of going places.
I said my other the other things I play outside of ESO is like Disney Dreamlight Valley and like I just told you I like to vacation Disney World, so like I'm always down for a Disney Valley. So, shoot,
If I can't go there in person, I'll pretend I'm going there.
Right, exactly. I'd probably have to bring it back to Elder Scrolls ESO, Vardenfell. It is literally the worst place ever. You cannot convince me that doing Ritz in Vivek City is the best place to do it. Absolutely not.
So many people do it there, and I don't know why. Unless I'm in there doing something, I don't care.
All day.
So the reason people have told us that they do it in there in Vardenfell, because like I said, I'm 50-50. It's either Hrothgar, because Hrothgar is just as bad as Vardenfell, because the terrain is so uneven, it's so easy to just fall off a cliff and die, plus there's snow everywhere, and I hate snow.
Don't come visit me.
Right? So Vardenfell, so what they've said is like, oh, Vardenfell is great, because you get off the Way Shrine, horse trainer's right there, and then you run in a circle and do all your writs. I'm like, yeah. But you're in Vardenfell.
It's ugly.
Like,
it's always under construction. It's like New Jersey. It's just always perpetually under construction. There's no, at no point in time is it just ever going to be complete.
No. It's basically
we should
college
just bump
kids.
the time slider for Vivek City a little bit, make it look like something's happening. Yeah.
Right. Some of my characters, there's still a giant meteor overhead. Like,
I know. Right? It's supposed to be the sun. Vardenfell's for college kids. Alinor is for adults.
My last for funsies question though.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys have as your favorite retro console?
Nintendo 64.
Nice choice. Like how Mrs. was like, this one right now.
I love Zelda Ocarina of Time and Mario Kart. Like those are my two favorite things in this universe. So Nintendo
if you need some time gauging, anything older than a PS3 is retro at this point.
Oh, that makes me really sad.
So The only system I had two gaming devices growing up. When I was really young, I had the gray brick Game Boy, right? Green screen, all that. I still have that. So
They have
the
a
only
Lego one coming out.
Oh, do they? Oh, that's fun.
It's a replica and it even plays cartridges.
That's hysterical. I need to take mine apart and pull some stones out of it. Long story. But other than that, the only system I ever had was a PlayStation 2 growing up. My parents were never big into like getting us into like gaming and things like that. They'd always say, "Go play outside." Like, with who? I don't care. I'm like, good, cool. There's my sad soppy story. So I don't actually have, or I've never really used old systems. So I'm gonna have to default to like my gray brick Game Boy that I got from like my grandmother when I was like 8.
So thank you guys for coming out and joining me today and talking about this wonderful little experience you guys have had and this new little project you're kicking off. And obviously some of the listeners already know where you guys can be found, but where can people track you down on the interwebs?
Yeah, so thank you absolutely for having us back for a third time. But we stream primarily over on Twitch, so you can find us at _Tale_Fox, and Tale is spelled Tale. We do have a YouTube channel. We are the Fox Den over on YouTube. We do a lot of like beginner guides for ESO, or you can find us on our Discord. It is, I think it just ends in the Fox Den. I think that's we have a custom URL for the Fox Den. So, and then
Nice.
socials. You can find us all over socials, but all of the links are on our Twitch page. So.
All right. So thanks for tuning into the show, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and let other people know about the show, because that's how they'll find it. It's really how it is. One of the difficulties of taking over the show with such a long hiatus is some people have fallen away from listening to it. So tell them that we're back. Let people know that the show exists. Reviewing and rating is really important for the show. You can do so also over at the Bonus Roll podcast directory. If you guys want to get in touch with the show, you can find us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, YouTube with @10th Divine Podcast. And you can email us with @10th Divine Podcast @gmail.com. You can find myself, Crown Esso, with @Crown ESS0 in all those same places, as well as on Twitch. And if you'd like to support the show, you can go over to the Ko-Fi page, which is ko-fi.com/the Pierce Family, PEARCE. We'll be back in possibly less than a fortnight, and with another chat about Elder Scrolls. Top scenes.